What I wanted to talk to you today is about emotional intelligence. See, I think in this business, I think that we're getting it a little bit wrong. And where we're getting it wrong is the conversation that you and I are having with our clients. This couldn't have come to me as a 3-year producer or a 5-year producer. Being in the business the last 20 years has taught me that we need to have a different conversation. And what my hopes are is that when I leave this podium today, that you leave here with more clarity and confidence in your practice on how you should have that conversation with your clients. But not only with your clients, but with yourself and even your spouse. One of the things that's gone on in this world that we live in is we continue to have this conversation with our clients about alpha and beta and R squared and ETFs. Think of the jargon we use with our clients when they come in. Variable annuities, fixed annuities, real estate investment trusts, Grand Guard, modern portfolio theory, on and on and on. 3 years from today, if you came back to this same resort, stayed in that same bed last night and sat in these same chairs today next to the person that's sitting next to you, and you looked back over those past 3 years, for you to sit here today and have that conversation with yourself, what has to take place in your life, both personally and professionally, for you to be happy with your success? Most of us have retirement funds, right? We have our deferred comps, our 401k, simple plans that we have in our practice. If you have young kids, you might have a 529 plan. That's where Trudy and I sat. But we also had another bucket, kind of the catch-all bucket that we put money into every single month. We were saving money. We tell our clients to do it. We were doing it. But all of a sudden, some things started coming to the forefront about what's important to me. And then I went back and had a conversation with Trudy about what's important to us. How many people have you had come into your office take money out to pay for a wedding? Many. 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, up and up and up. And guys out there, if you think you have 2 boys and that's all, you're out of the woods, you're not out of the woods anymore. It seems to be a joint deal from what I'm seeing. If wedding's important to me, if that's my princess and I want her to have her day, why wouldn't I fund it? Why wouldn't I put money aside to pay for that day? If that's my princess, if that's my goal, why wouldn't I do that? We all have opportunities that approach us, whether that be a real estate opportunity, an investment opportunity, and an opportunity to help somebody else out. This was another one of our goals that came to us. We started to fund an opportunity bucket. What's that money going to be used for? I don't know. It's going to be used for an opportunity someday when it happens. It was important to us, so we started to fund it. See, you might be sitting out there and saying, well, this has something to do with somebody maybe in their 40s or 50s, maybe 60s. Guys, I've got clients that are in their mid-60s with a couple $1 million of investable assets with me that have a European fund, that have a pontoon fund, that have a vacation fund. It's not that they don't have the money. They've got the money to do these things, but they've set it up. How many times have you had people come into your office and you have a conversation with your husband and wife, and they talk about their 50th wedding anniversary coming up, and the fact that they're planning on going to Hawaii or an Alaskan cruise or something like that. And it's 6, 9 months, 12 months out, 18 months out. And then all of a sudden, as the time gets closer, normally it's the guy, puts the brakes on and says, I don't know if I want to take the money out. Market might be down. I don't know if I want to spend that 10 grand on that trip. Why wouldn't we have taken 10 grand and funded that trip right then? Why wouldn't we open up an account called 50th anniversary or vacations and funded it? Now when it's time to book that trip, the money's there. But see, what you guys got to figure out is this is really about you. This isn't about me. It's not about your clients yet, it's about you. Until you can go back to your office and have this conversation with your spouse and set up your own buckets, you're not going to get it. It's not rocket science, is it? It's not alphas and betas and mutual funds and things like that. This conversation is about finding out what's important to you and then funding it, and then finding out what's important to your clients and funding it for them. Everybody's talking about robo-advisors and things like that. I'm here to tell you that people are going to have this conversation with your clients if you don't. People are going to talk to them about what's important to you. We're in a society today where people want that instant gratification. Let's stop having a conversation with your clients about, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your account went from 600,000 to 660. Look at me. We had a great year. Let's start having a conversation about your European travel is funded. Your trip with your grandkids is funded. Right? Let's have that conversation. And when the market goes down, we'll continue to have those conversations about whether they're on track or not on track. But until we get it right in our own mind, we can't help our clients. So let's talk about the setup. So after that 4 or 5 years ago, epiphany kind of happened to me. The first thing I did is I ran to the bank. I'm on a board of directors in a small town, and I ran the bank and I opened 5 or 6 new accounts. We had some accounts set up already, and we started funding it every single month. Since then, we moved on, but what I had to do is I had to create a spreadsheet first, and that's all this is as far as getting the details concerned. It's just an Excel spreadsheet about the fund name, the balance of inception, the goal, what date that wedding might happen in the near future versus my European travel bucket, right? So they all have different dates to them. How much are you going to put in a month? And start to figure that out. Now, a lot of my clients that are retired actually take cash out of the bank or take cash out of a fund and fund their investments. So we'll fund it 100% right away, but we're starting to segregate it. But you've got to get the detail down first. You just got to pull out of them what those are and how much they want. You can put your assumptions. You want to grow it at 4%, 6%? What do you want to grow it at? It depends on how aggressive you want to be. And then you got to keep score. So we came up with this spreadsheet where we keep score. This is the different conversation than the Albridge report, isn't it? This isn't about 20% increase or 10% decline. This is about your goals and are we on track or not on track. So here's how you fund it. So what I've learned since I went to the bank is that I went to Putnam Investments and I went to Franklin Templeton, and I'm sure there's many more out there. Whoever you're working with, have a conversation with them. But the first thing that we did is we went to those companies and we said, listen, I want to set up an account, but it might be a joint account, but I might want 5 of them because they're 5 different buckets. And what they said is you can do it. And so here's how it works. Joint tenants with rights of survivorship, application. You do your EOE along with it, and a letter of instruction and a check. That letter of instruction could create 5 different accounts. That LOI takes care of it. The clients now get a statement in the mail that says European travel, Disney vacation, next car fund, remodel fund. They get those statements and it says it right on it. And what's that do for your practice? With Albridge, it comes right in and it says those different names. So on your Albridge statement, you have a good conversation with your clients about those buckets being funded. Again, stop trying to educate these people on how smart you are. You already know what you are. They know that you're smart and they understand it and they're there to see you. Start having a conversation about them and not you. That's what I've learned through this process. I was the number one offender trying to stick out my chest and tell everybody how important I was and how smart I was. When you flip that conversation about having a conversation about them, things change. And so whether you're 2 years in the business or 20 years in the business, these type of goal-based things are coming, and I think that you need to get in front of it and have these conversations with your clients. To me, I think this helps separate you from the pack. Edward Jones is not having a conversation in my town about this. Merrill Lynch isn't having a conversation about this, but I am. Mr. and Mrs. Smith get a call from the Edward Jones agent, and they've got 5 different buckets with me, invested with all their different goals in mind. They're going to answer that call? They're not. As Ryan mentioned, I just wrote my book. And anybody that can write a check and has some fortitude and can get some help can write a book. So that's not what it's about. What it was about for me is giving away the information. And in that book is some information about what we're talking about today. And I got an email this morning from a client that just read it and said, we need to come in and set up our buckets. this resonates with people. And it resonates with them more today than it did maybe 10 years ago. So I want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for allowing me to be in front of you and have this conversation. Again, I hope that this conversation helps you have some clarity and confidence when you go back. And I truly encourage you to sit down with your spouse, just like I did, and have this conversation with them and get working on it for yourself. Thank you.